I'm never gonna finish this video. Basically, there were two guys that I was in high school with for some part of my high school career, and it was Dominic and Roberto. Dominic really didn't have much of a disability. He had a slight limp and he was in special ed. Roberto was basically like me, except he could walk a little bit and move slightly better, although he had a vision problem. And Dominic grew tired of hanging out with us. He thought he was better because he could move around and he didn't consider himself quote unquote disabled. And he started hanging out with a group of kids who was also in special ed but could walk around. He so called quote unquote, that was his gang, as he so put it. And I said, well, can I be a part of your crew? He was like, nah, what if we got a rumble or something? And I'm like, wait a minute, is this 1950? And, he basically hung out with a group of kids. He would always hang out with them, but if you invited him somewhere, he would say he was busy. He had no time for us. And so, that bothers me a little bit because he thought he was hot shit. You know what I mean? So, and we were on a bus that he always claimed that he had this big bad reputation. So, when I would do something to try to be cool, he would make it like I committed one of the 10 uh I broke one of the 10 commandments. And like one time there was a bus driver named Matthew that he really didn't know his age. He was 52 and walking around like he was like John Travolta with his chest hair sticking out. And he thought he was one of the kids, one of the teenagers. He would stick his finger out and tell me fuck you and all this kind of thing. And it made me nervous because nobody ever talked to me like that. Even though I was trying to be tough, I was still Chris Neves from Brooklyn, New York, who his grandmother and grandfather are very overprotective. So one day there was an early dismissal, and we gave them the letter, and they said they were gonna bring us home early. They didn't, and then the driver got in my face, put his finger in my face, and said "fuck you." So I spat on his shoe. The matron wasn't there, but like that same night, I caught a cold because I was prone to catching a cold back then. I guess it was germs or something. And Dominic would talk all this shit about me. Oh, that I spit on Matthew. That's why I didn't come to school. All this shit behind my back. And then one day I made a joke, and both Matthew the driver and the matron Gwendolyn, which I call her Glenda Fin, which she tried to discipline me a couple times, and she was somebody that looked very unstable, like straight out of Rikers. Good looking black woman, had a tattoo right on her chest, which was the scariest thing. Um, Always wanted to fight over the little things, talk about road rage. If somebody was parking behind and beeping the horns, one day they were parked in front of my house and somebody beeped the horn. She goes, "Are you fucking out of your mind? Can't you see it's a fucking handicapped kid?" And my grandfather was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, take it easy." So then she came up to me and she said, "You know, you need to apologize to Matthew for spitting at him. I said, first of all, you don't even know what went down. The guy kept cursing at me and putting his finger in my face. And she was like, oh, but da 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 da, and blase blase, and look what you do with Dominic. I don't do anything to Dominic. Dominic browbeats me and think he's better than me because he could walk. So then she said, not to mention Matthew's name until I say I'm sorry. So I called my family, and my biological mom called her and pretended to be somebody else because we don't have the same last name. And she was telling my mom basically, if your son would have spit at me, you know what I would have done? And my mom said nothing. And my mom said she's lucky that she was pregnant because otherwise they would have sent her to jail. But I tell you one thing though, that both of them, a lot of these bus companies, when we were in high school, we had to make a petition because a lot of the drivers and a lot of the matrons are unstable. I don't think they do proper background checks because just for a lot of reasons. And it makes me feel bad that I have no luck because I'm in a wheelchair and I'm a quadriplegic and going through all the emotions. You know, it's hard. Sometimes I feel like, I don't know, life beats me down when I look at certain things, the way insurances are, the way home health aid situation is, the way the things I went through school. Once I changed the bus, he would always talk about me because there was another kid in the chair that would call me up and tell me, and I'd be like, really, I don't want to hear this. Like, I had a para, which is a teacher's aide that would take me all over, and he was so absent-minded that he kept saying, is this your bus? And I said, no. And Matthew, the little prick that he is, the little non-man that he is, the little sissy, was telling everybody, look how fast Chris said this is not his bus. And then the funny thing is, the girl didn't even like him. She said one day, because he would always hit on girls and try to grope them, she said, when they slap the shit out of you, then you're going to realize, but she said it behind his back. Like, they didn't even like each other. They barely talked about each other. And Dominic, who tried to play the big guy, the gangster, that he was too good for us, you know, was trying to defend them. And he don't even know what went on. And then one day he was acting all stupid and he said, hey, Gwendolyn, let's call Chris. And then he started to try to talk to me when he would get into school. And I tried to be nice till I found out he was saying shit behind my back. So, you know, I don't know, man. My spirit is strong and I never gave up. But things like this make me feel bad about life sometimes because there's no reason for people to behave the way they do.